Welcome to T-Bone's Best of Roanoke show. Music, comedy, and conversation featuring HB, the Honey Badger.
Honey Badger don't care.
Now, on with the show.
Having this fall, telling each other lies, floating down from Hannibal, bottle and a worm and a cane pole. We were fishing for secrets where the catfish crawl. Mississippi River flowing downstream, Gulf of Mexico somewhere downstream, the Atlantic Ocean somewhere.
Are you ready, HB?
I'm ready, T-Bone.
And George, are you ready?
I am ready.
I knew you would be. HB, we get out quite a bit. Where in the heck are we tonight?
Oh, tonight we are in beautiful downtown Vinton at the Twin Creeks Brewing Company.
Ooh, well,
Yeah.
Sounds like a nice
night.
Nice night and a lively crowd inside. We've got a wonderful, lively guest here, George Noleff. He is the producer and host of Outdoors Bound on WFXR TV. George, thanks for coming out here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Now listen, I've watched several of your segments, and it's very obvious. Your enthusiasm for the subject just pops off the screen. Give us an overview of what your show is about and what you go for and how long you've been doing that.
Well, we like to take a look at everything outdoors activities, outdoor sports, anything you can do. A lot of it's fishing, hunting, that sort of thing, because there's a real interest in it around here. It's a great area for those sorts of things. But we don't stop there. We go hiking, paddle sports, mountain biking, animal viewing, animal photography. Heck, we've even done segments on art. Outdoors as art, and because we've got some great artists around here who put together some beautiful works. Just they capture everything, just the beauty around here. Music, even poetry.
Oh my word!
Okay.
You cover from A to Z. It sounds like.
A to Z. Yep.
Now I read your bio. You have over 35 years in the media, and you have over 50 plus years in outdoorsmanship and fishing. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, I started in TV and radio back in the early 80s. Got into it completely by accident. I hate to say it, but I was chasing a girl.
What the? Hey, George.
Yeah, that does happen.
I was a poli-sci major in college. I was going to go to law school and then move on to save the world. We're still working on that part of it, but I started dating a girl, and she was a broadcast major, and I never got to see her because she was at the campus TV and radio stations all the time. So I started hanging out there, and next thing I knew, I was doing it for a living.
Boom.
Wow.
Well, you've done a lot of other interesting things too, and one of those was like you were an outfitter, you've been a cook, your bio said, you've designed fishing lures, is that right?
Yeah. I've worked for a while for Cabela's Bass Pro as an outfitter and a product specialist and a merchandise lead. I grew up cooking. My mom was a spectacular cook. She also had worked in food services when she wasn't working in the tire and rubber industry. We can get to that a bit later.
Yeah, right.
And then I have worked with various lure designers to work on patterns. Now, a lot of it was up in Ohio where we do a lot of walleye fishing. And we were on Lake Erie. And walleye, this is kind of interesting. There's actually a study that bears this out. There's walleye on Lake Erie are different genetically than walleye anywhere else in that they tend to be more curious. And so
wait, you said more curious?
More curious, yeah.
Oh, well, perfect. Let me call it time out, George. What is a walleye?
A walleye is the largest member of the perch family in North America. They can get up to about... they can get up to 25 pounds. That's the world record. Now, I'm going to circle back because Virginia plays a really key role here.
Okay.
But up there on Lake Erie, it's a huge sport fishery, and most of the fish are running anywhere from 3 pounds to 8 pounds. But they are very curious animals, and so they don't have hands, so the only thing they can do to come up and check something out is to bite at it, use their mouth. Yeah.
All right. Nibble at it, yeah.
Well, if they see something that looks kind of weird, doesn't look like it belongs, they're going to go check it out. Other places, if a walleye sees something that doesn't really belong, kind of leaves it alone. It's looking for something that, what we like to say, match the hatch. It looks like food, looks like what they should be eating. But up there, if it looks weird, they're going to go out and check it out. So I worked with some lure makers on paint designs. And we would come up with crazy, purples and pinks and blues and chromes, things that you're not going to see in nature.
Is that sexy to a walleye? Or what is?
I wish I knew. I just know that they like to come up and bite them. So
They like bling, I guess, a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah, that's
so that's the backstory on the lure design. And then I've also worked with some other lure makers on just prototypes that they're I'll test their stuff.
Well, tell me this. When I was growing up, my daddy would fish on the New River, and we'd stop at Skidmore's bait store.
Mm-hmm.
And all I know is a catfish and maybe a shark. That's all I know. But it seemed like he would buy bait. I thought we called them Hilgramites.
Yeah.
What are those? Those are like. Describe it.
Yeah, it's like, it looks like a centipede that lives underwater. It's an aquatic animal. You find them under rocks and things like that. Fish love to eat them. And
Okay.
New
Good
River's
bait.
good. Yeah.
So that's why we bought them.
Yeah.
They were good bait.
Be a good bait. Yeah.
All right. What are some of the things you like to cook before we get into fishing and stuff like that? What are you good at cooking?
What am I good at
Fish.
cooking?
I would say fish. Yeah.
I'm okay with fish.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the steak. I'm okay with a variety of different stuff. When I first met my wife, I would talk about the things I cooked, and she just, don't you just eat like Pop-Tarts? I said,
Can I have another peanut butter sandwich,
Yeah.
please?
But I'll do. I will get fancy sometimes. I used to do like a chicken with prosciutto and pine nuts, and things
Oh,
like
wow.
that. So.
Yeah.
Now, but when you're doing outdoors bound, I mean, a lot of the times you're out there on location.
Yeah.
I know you always have to go to the nth degree to get the best story. Have you ever had to fall in the water in order to get the best story or get the full effect, George?
Yeah.
Or have you ever fell in the water?
Yeah,
That way.
Too many times. In fact, we turned it. I was fishing with a team from VDWR down on the Stanton River. This past spring. We're doing a story. We're doing multiple stories. One, fishing the Stanton River. Two, what this team does from VDWR. And I did something that I've done 100 times, 1,000 times. I swung my leg over a canoe. We were going to get out. We were going to wade a sandbar. A leg came over the canoe, and the canoe just came right over top with me. And we had to bleep what I said.
What?
But
Yeah.
Like old sugar?
yeah.
Okay.
And but we thought we could use this to turn it into a water safety story, because you can go from safe to chaos like that, and that showed just how quickly. And even if you got experience on the water, which I did, I mean, it can go bad on you quick. So
Real quick, yeah.
we use that to illustrate what can happen. And thank goodness I was in water that was waist deep, so I came right up and acted like I meant to do it, but whatever.
Yeah.
So that made it to the Outdoors Bound blooper reel.
It actually made it on a 10 o'clock newscast at WFXR TV too. So there you go. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk some big old fish.
Big old fish.
Whoa,
Friday mornings, Good Day Virginia.
There you go. There you go.
I can't take full credit for that. Amanda Kenny, who we work with, she's one of the anchors on Good Day Virginia, said, hey, what if we did this sort of big old fish thing? And I said, well, I can make that happen. So yeah, that's that's one of our most popular segments. I mean, people love that. I mean, it's just fun to say, big old fish.
It is.
Yeah. It's a good
And
line.
they play it up good on the show.
They
It's very
have
nice.
fun.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about big old fish and the New River? Let's
Yes.
circle back to the
Let's do
walleye.
that.
Walleye, we have a strain of walleye that is genetically different from any other strain in the world, and it's native to the New River. And those fish have been in there for who knows how long, but long enough that they're isolated. The one thing that sets those fish apart, and I've done 2 stories on this, is that they grow to enormous size. And there are some biologists and some professional walleye anglers who think that the next world record walleye is going to come out of the New.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Now, the current world record is, I think it's 50, 60 years old. It's out of Tennessee. And they've netted fish in the New that are going to probably approach world record size.
Okay.
Well, when you say world record, you mean in the 20-pound range?
25-pound range,
Yeah.
which is a huge walleye.
And they put up a fight too.
They
to
do.
catch, so that's fun, right?
Yeah. The other thing about walleyes, they taste pretty good. If I'm
Okay.
going to eat a fish, I'm going to eat a walleye or perch if I can.
Okay.
But yeah, so that talking about big old fish and something really cool about Virginia. You got the New River strain, and the state has. It actually is a pretty recent discovery. Back in the 90s, a team from Virginia Tech figured out that they had this, and since then, the state Department of Wildlife Resources has really taken control of that fishery, and they treat it special, and it deserves to be treated special.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, you were born in Ohio, but you're Virginian by choice, so you know your Virginia stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, now, what's your favorite fish to go after? I'm guessing walleye.
I do love walleye, but I'll tell you what, I have fallen in love with fishing for striped bass down here. We've got world-class striped bass fishing inland in Smith Mountain Lake, also over Clater and over at Lake Anna, but we also have a trophy fishery out in the Chesapeake Bay. A lot of people are running over at the Norfolk area, Eastern Shore area, and they're fishing those fish, especially in the fall. And it may seem kind of nuts. You're out there late fall, early winter, December, and the wind's blowing, the snow's blowing, and you're out in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay. But you know what? You're catching a 50 or 60 pound striped bass, and ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Wow. Well, that let's segue from there. Tell us just a little bit about John Cruz. He caught a bass and made a little moolah off of it.
He made
right?
a little money.
Tell us that story.
John Cruz is he's a tournament angler. He's originally from Farmville, but he moved to Salem, and he is the founder and owner of Missile Baits, which is one of the fastest growing soft plastic lure makers in the country. John. A cool thing about Missile, all their products are made in the U.S. He is really committed to that. But John's a pretty cool guy, and he's also an excellent fisherman. He's won some Bassmaster Elite and Classic Series tournaments. Right now he's fishing the Bassmaster Classic, which is a Super Bowl of bass fishing down at Lake Hartwell in South Carolina. But recently he won a Bassmaster Elite competition down at St. Johns River, Florida.
Yeah.
And the payoff for that, I mean, $100,000, and that's not a bad paycheck.
No. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Does he have maybe sponsors or something? Too?
He's got sponsors.
Yeah.
Plus, he uses he sponsors himself too with missiles. So yeah.
So he won $100,000,
Yeah.
$100K.
Yeah.
He can buy some Hilgermites with that.
You can buy some Helgramites with that.
All right. Well, you told us your favorite fish to go after. What's the toughest fish, in your opinion, to catch?
Toughest fish can often, largemouth bass can be tricky. Stripers can be tricky. Trout can be tricky. And we've got great fisheries for all three of them here. But a lot of it's going to come down to conditions, weather, water clarity, what they're eating, water temperature, oxygen in the water. And they can be picky. There are some times where they are keyed on one color, and if you put anything in front of them that's not that color, like a real popular color around here would be like green pumpkin, or you've got a variety of different colors. But if you put something in front of them they don't want, they're just going to look at it.
So you're saying the fish are a little bit finicky.
Yeah, they can be finicky.
Yeah. Now, they stock around here, the local streams and creeks, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that something you pay attention to? And
all the time. And the reason for it is that a lot of times the stockings, especially here in the wintertime and into the spring, they're stocking a lot of trout around here, a lot of brook trout, a lot of rainbows, some browns, depending on the bodies of water. But like here, right in our own backyard here, I fished it today, Glade Creek.
Glade Creek, okay.
And they're fishing those. The cool thing about that is the state has a world-class trout management program, but they're managing for harvest. They want people to fish. They want people to get outside, enjoy what we have here, go fishing, catch these fish, take them home, cook them up.
That's the main reason for stocking, is to...
In this case, yeah.
Yes,
now, you also have management stocking
or something.
to replenish
Yeah.
and to help a species thrive. But yeah.
Okay.
Now, is the DNR, are there any new, well, I call it DNR, I'm from West Virginia, Department of Natural Resources, but are there any new laws coming out this year that sportsmen or outdoorsmen need to be aware of as far as fishing or hunting? Anything new?
there's always going to be local regulations, and your best bet is to get a hold of. They put out DWR puts out a pamphlet every year of fishing guidelines regulations. The one that there are a couple that I always pay attention to. One is the walleye, because they have a slot limit for walleye on the new, and that's so that they can keep the brood stock healthy. So it's like for between 20 inches and 30 inches is the slot there. You can't keep those. You got to toss those back.
Put them back.
You know, the minimum limit is 18 to 20. I believe you're good. Above 30, maybe 32. And I should know this, but I don't, because it shifts.
It changed, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but that's to keep our genetic, that Virginia strain, healthy, and make sure that they have an ample breeding stock to go from. The other one that you always got to be aware of is striped bass, and they treat the seasons different. And I'm talking about the seasons, you know, like fall, summer, spring. Striped bass fight like crazy, but when they fight, they develop a lot of lactic acid.
Okay.
And in warm weather, that lactic acid buildup does not disperse, and they'll die. So you catch.
I didn't know that.
No,
yeah.
no limit on, no size limit on striped bass in the summer. If you catch them, keep them.
Keep them, okay.
Because they're going to die. But this time of year, up until June, if they're under 20 inches, they got to go back in the water.
Go under 20, go back in the water.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I learned something there.
Yeah. Now, so we're heading into spring. What's the best time of the year to fish?
It used to be spring, fall, but now the science is so good that we've figured out ways to catch them year round.
Is that
you
right?
can fish year round?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do fish year round. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
I've
Any
been-
favorite fishing holes? I mean, we won't tell anybody, George. I mean, nobody's going to hear it if you share it with us right now. We're mum's the word. We're zipping our lip, right, HB?
Yeah, that's right.
It will not leave this table.
Yeah, actually, I don't mind sharing my spots. If I'm fishing striped bass, Smith Mountain Lake, there are areas of Smith Mountain, Craddock Creek, Gills Creek Islands that I like to fish there. I like fishing channel cats down there too. That's a lot of fun. My wife, who is from Virginia, loves fishing channel cats, and so Smith Mountain's excellent for that, and they're good on the table. If I'm fishing walleye, New River, Stanton River. If I'm fishing bass, SML again. Smith Mountain Lake is
Okay.
All right. And what about hunting? Are there any good places to hunt here in this region?
All over.
gosh.
All over.
Excellent deer hunting opportunities here. Excellent turkey hunting opportunities. I don't do as much hunting. I need to get back into. I did when I was a kid. And fortunately, I've got friends who will show me bear hunting opportunities to the north. Botetourt, Craig, those areas. I mean, heck, I have bears walking through where I used to live in southeast Roanoke, so it's not like they but then small game, rabbit, squirrel, which my mom used to call chicken of the trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got people, unless you've come from somewhere else, you don't realize what you got here as far as the outdoors, hunting, fishing opportunities.
It's got it all, doesn't it?
Man, it does.
Wow. All right, I'm going to let you wrap up, and we'll hit anything you want to highlight. But before we do, George, I like to take this time and put a fun hypothetical scenario out there for you.
Uh-huh.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Now, you're an outdoorsman, over 50 years. If it was nighttime and you were camping outside at Smith Mountain Lake, which would you rather face? A 500-pound black bear named Hank the Tank that was hungry, or a hungry 7-foot Sasquatch?
Wow. Probably the bear, because I got a better idea of what he's going to do. The Sasquatch, one, he might be smart, and I don't need to deal with that. The bear, I can try and make myself look big. I can toss food somewhere. I can kind of ease off and try and back out. But man, that Sasquatch, I don't know where I'm going with that one.
Bigfoot or whatever. Yeah.
I think you could handle Hank the Tank. All right, my friend. All right, I'll give you the last word. What is it that people need to know to watch Outdoors Bound? And you got a newsletter. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
We've got a newsletter comes out every Friday. If you go to the Outdoors Bound page on our webpage, wfxrtv.com, you can sign up for it. It comes out every Friday at 11 a.m. It's the latest outdoors news, plus a lot of other cool stuff. We cover everything from fishing to hunting, but we also do like just wildlife stories. We did a cool story on salamanders. There's a type of salamander native only to Virginia. It's called the big level salamander. It's only found on a few select mountaintops in Rockbridge, Augusta, and Nelson counties.
Really?
We went up there. Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I didn't know that. That's good stuff.
You love looking for salamanders.
Yeah. Oh, as I said in the story, unleash your inner 8-year-old. You go up there and you're flipping
Move a
rocks
rock,
and
yeah,
logs,
yeah.
and it's like, yeah, I got one. And and I was up there with the DWR team and a Forest Service team, Fed guys, and we were just running around. But the thing about salamanders too is, remember, they don't range too far. So wherever you catch them, look at them, say, hey, that's really cool. Put it right back where you found it. Try to replace its habitat. Yeah.
Okay.
How nice.
Yeah, but
and you like to take pictures. I'm sure you probably photograph some of them, don't you?
I take a ton of pictures.
Yeah.
I think I've used up a lot of the memory on my phone because I but yeah, I mean, the thing that I would say is we've got so much here as far as the resource goes.
All right, my friend. Well, this is the Big Finish HB. What did we learn tonight?
Well, we learns about the fish that when they fight and they what is it? The muscle in them puts out a
Lactic acid.
lactic acid, and
yeah.
didn't know that. That's something I've never heard before. So there's reasons the fisheries or the way it's managed, why you keep a fish instead of putting it back and all that. Didn't know that.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
And George, best wishes to you. We will continue to watch your segments on WFXR TV, Outdoors Bound. And here's hoping that you pull in next month a 45-pound walleye. How's that, brother? You break the world's record.
If I catch a 45-pound walleye, my picture's going to be on the cover of every fishing magazine in the world.
Well, thank you,
Thank
George.
you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Goodbyes, it's over. No more petals on my four-leaf clover. I can't take more of this back and forth romance. He said goodbye, that's it, we're through. One big heart broke in two, but oh, we gave it our best chance. One goodbye, two hellos, he loves me. Thank my lucky stars above me. Why did we ever part? We're meant to be, oh yes, it's true. There's no one else but you, at least till we say goodbye again. Well, it's on again, oh no, it's off again.
Our show announcer was Elizabeth Ann Hughes, recording engineer Mike Hawley, executive editor JT Woodrum, and thanks for listening.